Hey there.
Howdy, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see and hear you, and it's nice to
Oh,
see someone with a good camera. Well, thank you so much for doing this, especially such short notice.
yeah.
Just
Oh, I was here.
well, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, how did you get into music? I'm assuming similar to everyone
Well,
else, but
everybody in my family played an instrument. No, actually, no, nobody in my family played an instrument. I think my sister played clarinet for 2 weeks in grammar school, and but for I was enamored with guitar. I always thought, guitar, what a cool instrument. And so when I was in sixth grade, my mom finally acquiesced and said, "Okay, you can take guitar lessons." So back in my native Norwich, Connecticut, we went to the music store and I started studying under Mr. Marcus. And I studied with him for a year, and he was like, "Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're ready to move up to Mr. Marino." So I'm thinking, "Oh, Mr. Marino, he's like the guy."
hmm
So if you're going to take guitar lessons in Norwich, Connecticut, Miss Lou Marino Sr. is your guy. He's the guy. So I was like, "Oh, great. I'm being graduated up to Mr. Marino." So about two lessons in, Mr. Marino stops in the middle of the lesson. He goes, shakes his head, looks at me, goes, he said, "Don't waste your time. Don't waste mine. You have no aptitude for this instrument." So, so as a sixth grader, I'm going, "Oh man, I have no aptitude for guitar." So I didn't pick up guitar till I was in high school. And all my friends, see, here's, sometimes peer pressure can be a negative thing, but all my friends played instruments. So in order to hang out with my friends, I had to play an instrument.
Mm.
So I taught myself guitar and apparently some aptitude for the instrument. So here's to you, Lou Marino Sr.
That's interesting. Peer pressure got you to play guitar again, and let's see, what's the name of the song? The autobiography that you sent me,
Oh, yeah,
addiction to music.
the needle.
Yeah. Also, sometimes addictions can be brought on by peer pressure, so it's kind of a little bit
It's,
of
yeah,
a click there.
it all ties back and it all coalesces into one one nice thread there. No, and funny because it didn't seem like an important thing at the time because people think, well, music, that's your life. No, I was a pre-med major. I spent my entire youth planning on being a surgeon. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. My dad was a surgeon. I wanted to be a surgeon. And people go, I went through a year of college and I ran out of money. I had to quit school.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so then I went into music. And it's
And you
funny, people
became a
go,
different kind of surgeon.
yeah, well, it's funny because people go, you're in music. That's kind of, do you have a plan B? I say, yeah, you're looking at it. This is plan B. This is what I'm living plan B right now. So yeah, this is my plan B. And
Wow.
again, unfortunately, see now my son,
hmm
who's a brilliant, gifted musician, he's also, again, he's a musician too.
hmm
So I've one of the responsibilities of being a parent is being, teaching your children right from wrong. And apparently, I was a horrible cautionary tale because he's, he's in the business too, and he actually opening his own studio soon down in Burlington. So
Oh, wow. Really? Oh, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm wearing a shirt here that it's advice that I give to my son all the time. It says, "Make it look like an accident, son. If I teach you nothing else, for the love of God, make it look like an accident."
I like it.
So yeah, no, he's doing great. So yeah, and as a dad, that's the coolest thing is that it's one of the beauties of having a studio now is as I got off the road, I could make my own schedule.
Oh,
If my
yeah.
son had a ball game, I could go to the ball game. I said, "No, not working today. Going to the ball game."
Yeah.
So
Being your own boss is wonderful. For
yes,
sure.
and it's funny how your priorities shift too as these milestones in your life approach. You go, yeah, it's kind of cool, but yeah, I'd like to hang out with my kid.
Yeah, definitely. What does make it look like an accident mean to you? Like, how does that translate?
Well, it's a joke about the lack of accountability in today's society.
Hmm.
So I'm not encouraging him to make it look like an accident, but
I
that's sort of the
didn't know if you're
approach
talking about
that.
murder or not. Like,
You murder, whether it's murder or the scene of an accident, anything. It covers all the bases. So if you screw up, like look at the guy next to you. It's like when you're on stage and there's a bad note, you got to look over the bass player. It's the same thing.
Well, it's funny because when I first read it, the first thing that popped into my head was some of my favorite times on stage were accidents and screw ups. Like some of my favorite times where we had the most fun. And that's what it kind of means to me. So I guess it could mean something different for pretty much everybody.
No, that works for that too.
Oh yeah. And so in high school you started playing guitar again because of peer pressure, and then you fell in love with it and became addicted to it. And you carried it into school, then you stopped school, and then you just went back into music. Now, what year was that around?
I graduated high school in 1976, the spirit of 76. That was my high school year.
Pre-Star Wars.
Yeah, I know, right? And I'm going to a sip of coffee here.
I'll probably vape, so.
I probably won't. Warren Zevon famously said, enjoy every sandwich. And I enjoy every beverage. So my wife always kids me because after I take a sip, I'll go. I think that's important to acknowledge the mundane things in life, and just enjoying every beverage. Like you take a sip. It's good.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's something comforting about a beverage. I do have coffee with me, and this will.
Oh, there you go.
This will help quite a bit.
I don't like to drink alone.
Yeah, funnily enough, I don't drink alcohol, and I'm always the only sober person in the bar.
Yep,
which is really odd.
I know the feeling.
Yes, it's really interesting.
I was going to say, pursuant to that, speaking of that, that's one of the things I never understood. There are a lot of musicians go down that road where it's, the drugs and alcohol thing. I always found playing was such an e-ticket ride that I was thinking, why would I want to dull any of this? I mean, it's like, I get to do what people dream about doing, in the privacy of their bedroom, jumping around and playing music and, making a fool of myself. So, yeah, I never understood. It seemed like the foreign concept to me, but hey.
Well, I think I've always thought of music as a lot like stand-up comedy, where it's not something that like normal people or well-adjusted people really try to get into. So if you are a person that has the genetic code that doesn't make you want to have alcohol and drugs, and you happen to love music, then you end up being like people like us. It seems. Well, it's an escapism on a big level. I mean, I guess if you're looking at it in those terms, it is escapism. So you get to forget about everyday life. I always tell people that people say about, don't you get nervous going on stage there? And I'm thinking, no. I'm thinking that's the only place in the entire world where I don't have an electric bill. I don't have anything. Yeah. I get on stage and the world melts away. It's like, it's like I'm the captain of that entire domain. There's nothing else that, I'm in control. Did you ever have
always seemed
stage fright at all?
What's that?
Did you ever have stage fright?
I don't think so.
Yeah, me either. I've never met anybody that said that before. Everybody always says that they did. I wonder what is that? Are we megalomaniacs or what? What is that?
Or we just don't care. I don't know. It's. I think if you see, to me, there's and I don't want to wax philosophical, but to me, performing it's like this sacred bond you have with your audience. It's like I always think of it as a privilege to be able to get on stage and perform, and it's like. It's just like it's a treat. I mean, I look forward to it every time. It's like, hey, I get to play guitar, and the other thing is, I'm a practiceaholic. I mean, I love to practice. I run my sets for weeks ahead of time. Every song in order. I go through. I've got my guitars set here. I make guitar changes, all programmed. Anything I would do during the show, I will do that every night before a show for probably at least 2 weeks. So, I mean, that's the level of prep that I like to have, because I think you owe it to your audience. I see performers now, and there's a delineation. Again, I'm going off on a tangent here, but
please do.
Between a musician and a performer, and being able to notice, be able to do both at the same time is important. A lot of people don't understand the concept of a performance, and I think that's a lost art. I think I see people up there with tablets and phones, and they're reading lyrics or they're looking at the chord changes. I'm thinking, no,
you've got that. That's an electronic barrier between. That's an insular layer between you and your audience. You don't want that. And anything that distracts from that, you don't have a direct conduit to your audience. You don't have that. You can't connect then. So, I guess I'm old school.
Yeah, I think I was going to ask you about that. Like, did you always have, because your stage presence is insane. Like, it's just amazing. I mean, you look like if someone were to cast someone, then tell them, I want you to be this character up on stage, and then you were the greatest actor in the world, and you just nailed it. That you played like the quintessential most charismatic sort of like full of presence guitar player, and you have all this physicality to you, and you seem so comfortable and also connected. Like you look at people, and I've always noticed that. I feel like, oh, he's playing for me. and has that always been there, or was it something you developed?
And I was. I was playing.
You were
for
playing for, right. You were. You're right.
Glad you picked up on it. No, it's again.
You saw me and you're like, this was for you, Jason.
Hey, Jason. It's for you. No, it's funny. I sometimes I mentor performers, and I always tell them, when you get on stage, to be in that moment, to take everything in, but just there's an art to being in the moment.
Yeah.
So that you're not thinking about anything else other than you're like a conduit. The song kind of goes through you, if that makes sense, and you're just you're the medium by which it gets to the audience, and just being that, and just again savoring that moment, appreciating that moment. Just again, it's an e-ticket ride. We get to live out people's dreams. You get on stage and we get to do this. So I mean, that's how lucky are we?
Yeah, it's a blast. I remember the first time that I ever my first band, Nowhere Found. I used to wear sunglasses because I think I hid behind them because my eyes don't triangulate, and I was always a little self-confident about self-confident. I was a little bit self-conscious. Thank you. About that, and also I wanted to be cool, and I didn't want to feel like I was putting on a show. And then with Pleasure Dome, my girlfriend, who became my wife, and now is not my wife. Anyway, she had great advice. She said, sunglasses off, go up there, and you're cast in this role. You're playing a rock star. And I went, okay. And that's what I did. And then it felt awesome because I let this thing out of me, this thing that I was afraid to do or something, afraid to feel like contrived or something. And then my hands went like this, and it was this power felt, this amazing drug, like endorphins,
Yeah, that's rock star post number 3 if you're keeping track at home.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fantastic, because that's exactly what I was dying to know that about you. Like, is it something that is just inherent in you that happened, or is it just sort of like a decision?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm completely unaware of anything that happens around me on, as far as any facial affectations or anything. It's funny. I read somebody had posted a YouTube video, and it's like, oh, he's making those stupid guitar faces. That's distracting. I'm thinking, okay. I'm completely oblivious to any of that. I'm in that moment, and I'm not thinking about it. I think it's just, just connecting with it on every level, so that, whatever emotion just happens to play out at that moment, you're just like, yeah, that's, I think it would be contrived if I tried to go, I couldn't do that.
If you just tried to be right, if you played like the cool guy, I'm the cool guitarist.
I'll never be the cool guy. I just, I'm just, that sort of kinetic energy that just, it just flows.
It's a blast. It's a blast to watch you, basically.
Well, thank you.
How did you get involved with 8084?
Well, as after my college failure, I was still back in Connecticut then, and I was playing in a few different bar bands. I was doing actually more of a metal kind of a rock thing, doing a lot of Judas Priest, AC/DC kind of stuff. And I got a phone call out of the blue from Chuck, the keyboard player, and he goes, "Hey, I got your name from Randy, our singer, and he says you're a good guitar player. We're looking. We started out with another bass player and guitar player, but I think we need to make a change here. And you come highly recommended. And I said, well, what's the name of the band? He goes, 8084. I'm sorry. What's the name of the band? 8084. I'm thinking, God, sounds like a number. What? One more time. 8084. Oh, it is a number. And apparently, I'm thinking, well, how does this cat know me? And we used to play the circuit out in Western Massachusetts, out Springfield, out that way. And apparently, I think it actually might have been in Brattleboro. There used to be a club there in Brattleboro. It was an old parking garage, and it sounded just like that. A club called Flat Street. And I think I climbed on a table and on Randy's table and spilled a beer in his lap. So you kids out there looking to get into a band, you want to audition? Skip that. Just spill a drink on the lead singer, and you're in. And and again, at the time, I was sort of between projects. So I said, okay. And I've been slowly moving from Connecticut. Then I lived in Massachusetts for a while. Then I lived in West Lebanon. Then I lived in Northfield. Then I lived in Burlington. Now I'm in St. Albans now. So
you're almost
eventually
in Canada.
I'll be in Canada soon. So just a matter of time.
Well, you have the disposition of a Canadian, the whole friendly, nice thing going on. So I'll tell you a funny story. When I started, I wasn't always this calm and cool. Really?
Yeah. In fact, the road crew used to have a name for me. They used to call me Chim. Why? Because I would get worked up about stuff. He said, and it became a verb. He said, "Hey man, don't chim out on us."
What? What does it mean?
Nobody knows. You've met road crews, right?
Yeah.
You take a few hours out from their busy day of watching wrestling or Jerry Springer or something, and
I just wonder if it's an acronym or something.
No, I don't think they speak in acronyms. It's it was just, man, don't chim on us, man. It's
my God, that's hilarious.
And at one point in my life, I just went, you know what? Nothing productive comes about becoming angry. And again, when I was, I'm old, so I used to watch the show called Kung Fu with David Carradine. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, they would have these fortune cookie bits of wisdom. And one of them that I gravitated toward and still hold on to this day was, anger has no mind. Okay. Anger has no mind. And so I thought to myself, okay, that's right. When I lose my temper and I hit the wall, I have a good chance of breaking a finger, knuckle something, and I got to fix the wall. So it just went cold turkey.
And seriously, that was like a change like that. Wow, you're malleable. That's amazing.
Well, I like to think I'm pragmatic to a fault.
Wow. No, it's incredible. That's a really amazing story. I can't think of an epiphany moment. I had an epiphany moment where I almost died and realized there was no reason to worry about death, but I was 15. But yeah.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm just going. Well,
that's what it was like.
Time.
I stopped caring at that moment. I was like, oh, well, it really wasn't that bad almost dying, so maybe it won't be that bad again.
Yeah. Well, go. He's got experience. Go with him.
Yeah, it was weird. Now you have on what is it, May 7th? It's something called the Kingman Fest, which I've never heard of. It's in St. Albans, and what is that?
Well, there's a good reason you've never heard of it. It's something new.
Oh, okay.
Of course, with the advent of COVID and all the restriction, a lot of the merchants that are on Kingman Street, which is one of the main thoroughfares, if there are main thoroughfares in the city of St. Albans here, it's a little sort of a thank you and a fundraiser thing for the merchants on Kingman Street there. Oh. And so they thought, hey, what better band to do a tribute to than Queen on Kingman? So I was like, okay,
that's neat.
I guess they could have done Elvis Presley, the King on Kingman, or maybe Prince or one of those other things. But no, it's Queen on Kingman.
There's a lot of royalty in music.
I know, right? So yeah, and it's funny. I had the pleasure of seeing Queen when I was just a young man.
Really?
Actually, I saw them on the Night at the Opera tour.
Really?
Yeah,
the one that's in the movie, right?
What's that?
Is that the one that's in the movie? The recent movie. It's at that tour.
Yeah,
oh,
I saw them. They played at the Waterbury Palace in Connecticut. It was the warm up before they did all the big arena tour. So they did like a little theater. It was a little bit bigger than the Flynn Theater here in Burlington, and I was in the 7th row, right in front of Brian May, and it was the first time they'd ever performed Bohemian Rhapsody in the United States.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
cool, huh?
Yeah, that's super cool. Wow.
Yeah, I'm old enough to have seen all the cool stuff.
Now, what are you're doing a Queen tribute, but what's the deal? Like, are you singing? Are you and playing guitar, or is it just playing guitar with like working it out that way, or like?
I'm doing whatever Brian May would be doing, which is, called a tall order to begin with. So the guitar playing will keep you busy doing Brian May. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So it's going to be you on stage, or do you have more people on stage?
Got a whole band.
Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't know exactly what was going on because
Oh yeah, it's an entire band.
I could see you doing a just instrumental of Queen songs and it being awesome. So I didn't know exactly.
Yeah, no, I made that little clip there just with my phone the other day when I figured it's some way to promote things. As you know, in this business, it's all about promotion.
Promotion. Yes, it is. And then
we got some of my buddies from the band Shake. Jesse Agan's going to sing.
Okay.
Ryan Sweezy on vocals and second guitar, and don't tell me, our own drummer Gary Spud Spalding from 808 is going to be on drums.
Oh, nice.
Trevor Contois on bass. So it's going to be a fun band. A lot of talent there, and so yeah, we just starting rehearsals now. So
cool, and that's May 7th.
May 7th
of this year.
Mark that on your calendar.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, awesome. Oh God, it's summertime. I can't wait. What's one of your favorite memories of your career? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be band related.
Well, as career wise, we won this thing called Rock Search. It was an international rock competition back in '87, and they had the finals up in Canada. It was actually, we're the only American band left in the competition. It's in Montreal, held at the Olympic Center, and there's like 10,000 people there. And we ended up winning that, and which sort of springboarded to a lot of other things. We ended up signing a management deal, and the management company decided, hey, we're going to have Aldo Nova produce your new album. And that was another whole story working with Aldo. Aldo was such an amazingly gifted musician. He was a mercurial sort, to put things nicely. He could be moody. I'd be tracking guitar. Of course, beautiful location. He's on the 32nd floor. He's got a penthouse in downtown Montreal. I see the St. Lawrence off there, and I'd be tracking guitars there. He'd be like, "Oh, that was great. I love what you're doing. That's beautiful, beautiful." I go, "Oh, cool. Thanks, Aldo." And like 2 takes later, he'd be like, "You suck. Whoever said you could play guitar, you suck." I was like, "Well, about 2 takes ago, you did, but hey, but." You develop a thick skin in this business, and I didn't take it for it. I was like, he's an artist. Literally, he's just like the quintessential artist. And I'd be watching him, he'd be playing keys, and he'd be like doing vibrato, and I'm thinking, it's not doing anything, Aldo. But he'd be like playing the keys, doing this,
just feeling it.
Yeah, he's just feeling it.
Yeah, totally.
Again, an amazing artist.
You don't hear the difference, but I do.
You suck.
It's like your guitar teacher back in Connecticut.
Yeah, so it's like having flashbacks to 6th grade. Well, not Lou Marino Sr.
So
Aldo was, again, you get to live life to its fullest. Aldo and I won't go into too many details, but I've been arrested for 2 felonies in Canada, and Aldo was responsible for one of them. I should just leave that hanging.
Wait a minute. Felonies?
Yeah, we're recording one day, and Aldo goes, "Hey, my wife just got remarried to some New York Islander guy. He gave her a new Mercedes, and so she said I could have my Volvo Turbo back." And I got to the border, and they wouldn't let me cross because they said, "Well, it's registered in the States, sir, and you've got a Canadian license." And he said, "Hey, Andre, do you have a license?" I said, "Yeah, that's how we drive around." I got, "Is it an American license?" "Yeah, I'm an American license. Would you mind picking up my car for me?" And I said, "Okay." So we got to the end of the week of recording, and it was at an impound parking lot on the side of the highway in Rouse's Point there. And Gary, the drummer, dropped me off there, and I said, "Oh, I got some new plates to put on it too." So, okay. So it's about 11 o'clock at night. this dark impound lot and putting license plates on the car. And a state trooper pulls up and goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And being the cocky, brilliant young man that I was, goes, look at him go, "Putting license plates on." Just went back to
What's it look
and the
like?
cop he was so taken aback, he just got back in his car and left. So I said, "Well, this is kind of an omen. I'm not going to go back to the up 87. I'm going to take the goat path through Rouse's Point and up that quiet crossing." And which, again, in retrospect, I'm thinking, well, I'm just gonna. So I get to the crossing. Again, the crossing couldn't be more polite. He was Canadian, and he goes, "And the reason for your visit?" I went, I'm just going up to see my friend up in Montreal." "Oh, okay. Do you mind popping the trunk?" I said, "No, I'll pop the trunk." Open up the trunk. He goes, "What's in the suitcase?" And I went, "Suitcase?" I'm thinking, I don't know. So he brings the suitcase inside. It's like, "It's locked." I'm like,
Oh my God.
So I had to call Aldo's wife in New York. By then it's about midnight. She's like, "Hello." I said, "Yeah, I'm picking up the car for Aldo, and there's a suitcase in the trunk, and you wouldn't happen to know the combination?" "It's 238. Click." It's like, okay, so I get the combination. 238. Now the suitcase is cool. It's this blue. I can still picture the suitcase. It's got Cyndi Lauper tour tags on it still from when Aldo was touring with Cyndi Lauper. And I get the combination dialed in, and I click it open. I'm thinking to myself, please don't be full of blow. Don't be full of blow. And I open up the suitcase, and there's a necktie in it. The only thing in it was a necktie. So I close.
What?
Knowingly close it like, oh yeah, that necktie. Get back in the car, drive all the way up to Montreal doing the speed limit and nothing over the speed limit. Because I'm like, I'm going to get to the parking garage, park there. Fine. Crash at Aldo's. We get up in the morning, start working on the album again. And he said, "Hey, the new Def Leppard album's out. We got to go get the new Def Leppard album." So, okay. So we got to the parking garage, go to get in his car, and all of a sudden the RCMP is surrounding us.
Oh my God.
And it's like, what's this about? Apparently, Aldo was a little gray on the rules about bringing cars into Canada. Apparently, it's considered smuggling.
Oh my God. Really?
So Aldo and I got arrested for smuggling.
Wow. So the necktie is not related to the story. It's just an insane part of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right?
Did you ever ask about the necktie? Like, what is going on? Please tell me you did.
Next time I see I'll remember that suitcase? I still got the suitcase. But yeah, what's the deal with that necktie? Who wore a necktie?
One necktie in a case.
Court date?
Oh my God, that is insane. How did that turn out? I mean, what?
Well, Aldo has good lawyers.
Oh, okay.
His last name is actually Cappuccio, which is Italian.
Ah.
But he had really good. He was connected. He had good lawyers. So
Okay.
I never had to go to court for that one.
Oh well, that's all right. That's good. Oh my God. Yeah. And plus you were totally like, putting license plate on the car too and driving it over. So
yeah.
And he was just told you to. He was your Charlie Manson.
Yeah. I'm just. Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, if I go on to try to assassinate Gerald Ford or something, then you'll know.
Oh, great. Now I hear a knock at the door. Okay. So you've worked with Aldo Nova. Who's someone else that, I've heard rumors that you've worked with John Bon Jovi or have some kind of connection.
Cool thing about living with Aldo and working with Aldo is, it was always a treat to answer the telephone because you didn't know who it was going to be. Like sometimes it was Bon Jovi. Sometimes I answered. I've spoken with Chris Squire from Yes, and all these people would call up. It's like, hey, get the phone. It's like the bridal bouquet. Everybody should get the phone. And actually, John had written a song for us to perform. We never actually recorded it. It was called Rage of Angels. The funny story: the demo was sung by Jolyn Turner.
Who? I'm not familiar.
Jolyn Turner, who was in Rainbow with Blackmore and was in a bunch of different. He was in Deep Purple for a while. Jolyn Turner.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking, I know that voice. That's Joe Lynn Turner. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know him.
So he wrote a song. Wow, he was writing songs for other people?
Yeah. Or he wasn't using them himself. Figured I can make some money off this song.
Mm. Oh, okay. Wow.
Well, you'd asked earlier about one of my favorite moments. One of my all-time favorite as a guitarist,
yes.
one of my favorite moments was we played a show years ago in Burlington. We opened for Rick Derringer, who was one of the great unsung rock guitar pioneers. And after the show, we were staying at the same hotel, and I'm not sure how it happened, but Rick and I ended up hanging out. He came to my room and we just hung out for the right till dawn. We had one guitar between the two of us and my old Flying V and a little PV backstage amp, and hanging out with one of my guitar heroes with one guitar, trading licks back and forth and him telling stories. That was like, the kind of things that, one of those rare treats that, you just like, wow, I could hang out with Rick Derringer.
Yeah.
For hours on end.
That is amazing. I can't even imagine what that would be like to hang out with someone that was, and be a peer at that point,
Well,
like,
yeah.
You're
on some level, I guess we both did play guitar.
No, seriously though. I mean, yeah, really. I mean, a peer for sure. He wouldn't be hanging out with just. It would be like, yeah, here's one of my lackey fans, and spend all that time with you. Your peer, your friend. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's a good feeling. I think that's. Well, wonderful.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things that you when you get to trade stories, and another again, name dropping here, but when you're in this business, you just bump into people, and I've gotten to know this guy Tony Bruno, is going by the name Tony Ray. He was playing with the band Soraya at the time, and we were doing some radio promo stuff together. And the next time he was in town, Soraya was opening up for Bad English, and I get a call. We happened to be playing at Club New England that night, and Tony calls me and said, "Hey, yeah, you want to come down and have dinner with Neil Sean?" Let me think.
I've got to sing.
and actually did sit there in the green room with Neil and shooting the shit and talking guitars and everything. It was, again, one of those like pinch me moments where you get to hang out with your heroes and just talk about guitars. And that was then the guys from Bad English ended up coming down to Club New England, hanging out and sitting in with us. So that was fun.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Except until John Waite got so drunk he fell backwards and punched a hole through one of my Marshall cabinets, right through the basket weave cloth, 57 right into the speaker. So, but
oh my God,
I wouldn't trade anything about that night.
No,
so
that happens. It's part of it. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
sometimes things get damaged.
So again, I'm lucky I get to do this, and you were asking about people. I mean,
oh yeah,
the studio's been what a great landing spot for me. People, again, terrible cautionary tale for my son. Again, that idiot can make it. Anybody can succeed in this business. And a couple of projects I've been working on lately. I worked on this metal project with another one of my rock and roll heroes, Graham Bonnet, who was a great vocalist. Again, worked with Rainbow. He worked with Michael Schenker. He was in Alcatraz with Yngwie. Just one of those classic smoky rock, big voices. And I produced a project with him recently, and again, I'm like the weak link in that chain. And we got another project I'm working on right now. I get a call from another. Again, I get calls. Hey, this is my lovely bride.
Hello.
He says hi. She's over there waving.
Hi.
Hi.
Cool. Just, okay.
Just let her know.
Okay, I'll give her a Thanks. Hi, Jace.
Hi.
Yeah, one of my clients is was on the line, but they can wait.
If you want, we can pause. No problem at all.
No.
All right. It's no problem at all. I might have to pause at some point to go and hang out with my son for a second. He's fine now because he's watching a show. I'm just saying I might have
need to.
All right.
Let me know.
Make sure.
Actually, one of the other projects, I got this call from a friend of ours who's a new age artist, Heidi Osgood Metcalf. She's hyphenated, but she's quite nice. And she's a Wyndham Hill artist, piano player, composer. She's a really talented artist. And she said, I'm thinking about getting into more of a rocky thing. And I'd like you to play guitar and produce. And I said, oh, cool. And and one of my favorite things is when people say, hey, I know a drummer. It's like, well, this boy I used to babysit plays drums, and I'd like him to play on it. I'm thinking, okay, well, that should be good. So it turns out this boy she used to babysit, fortunately, is LA session drummer Matt Musty, who's now the drummer in Train, who did a stint with our own Grace Potter recently.
Wow.
So he's quite a talented cat.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like this guy with a Sears and Roebuck drum kit.
That's hilarious that it was put that way.
Yeah, I know. It's like kind of buried the lead there, didn't you?
Yeah, big time. Oh my God, that's insane.
And she said, well, and one of the other people I want to bring in is he's a bass player. I went, okay. I'm thinking, well, Matt was pretty good. I worked with him in the Windham Hill project. I said, okay, well, it's probably good. Then if he's on Windham, working with Acker and Windham Hill, and goes, it's Tony Levin. Thinking, okay, I guess feel like King Crimson and Peter Gabriel, he's okay.
That's
that's.
I'm terrible with names, so
he's to bass play. He's in the pantheon of bass players.
Okay,
like the sort of the Lee Sklar of. Well, if you don't know Lee Sklar, like
I know like Billy Sheehan and Gene Simmons and Alec John.
He's like
Such.
the anti-Gene Simmons of bass.
Yeah, like I know. Yeah.
He just finished touring with King Crimson. He's also you'd appreciate. He's a great photographer. He's got a book of photography out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's just all these backstage shots of the Gabriel tours and everything. And
that's
he's done
pretty cool.
Session work with Kiss, with Pink Floyd. I mean, he's a cat.
Wow.
Super nice guy too. And again, I get these bass tracks and I'm mixing these songs. I'm going, that's Tony Levin.
That's awesome.
It's like to the point where do I want to EQ it? I need to EQ it to get it to fit in the mix, but that's the track Tony Levin sent me. So again,
that would be really exciting. I mean, I can feel your enthusiasm, and I can also through empathy and just being able to radiate from my body through these airwaves, wondering what it would be like to feel like doing work with my heroes. I can imagine that is amazing.
It's just, I mean, I'm a happy guy anyway.
Yeah,
my wife, fortunately, my wife and I have a diametrically opposed schedule. So she goes to bed at 11 o'clock. I work from 11 till 4 in the morning after she goes to bed. And I get up around 10 or 11. I get about 5-6 hours of sleep. And she said, we would have not been together if you'd been up. She said, you're like a puppy when you wake up. It's like, it's too happy, too much energy. It's like, no, I'm a happy guy. That's my normal, that's my comfort zone.
You default
I get to do this. I get to make music. This is my office.
Yeah, it is a good feeling. I hope to become stable in something that I absolutely love at some point. For sure. And
I absolutely never lose sight of the fact I lead a charmed life. I get to make music and I don't have to leave my house. It's my poor wife. That's the other thing. She's like, I figured we'd be traveling by now. It's like, I spent 25 years on the road. Last thing I want to do is leave the house.
Yeah. Well, what kind of places did you go when you were 25 years? Like
when we were touring, I think we played just every state east of the Mississippi. And, I would trade that experience for anything. I mean, it was just touring, just like the word. We were tourists. You would go to a town. We'd enjoy the flora and fauna of any given area. But there's certainly high points. Like you want to go to Memphis. If you're Memphis, you go to Beale Street. There's a palpable energy you get on Beale. You can feel the energy in the history of that street. Same with Bourbon Street in New Orleans. If you're down there, it's like, granted, New Orleans is what they call, Disney World for alcoholics. But there's this energy there that you can feel the history there. It's like you can, as a musician, it almost weighs on you, but in a good way. I remember, I'll tell you a funny story about Bourbon Street.
All right.
If I'm allowed to tell funny stories about Bourbon Street.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how funny it is, but one of our soundmen was a Vietnam vet, and we're walking down Bourbon Street. It's probably close to midnight. course, every 6 feet, there's a little kiosk selling hurricanes. And we probably had been drinking at the time. The sound man turns to Frank. He goes, "Who's on point?" And goes, without missing a beat, he goes, Chuck's on point. Okay, good. He had this moment of a flashback in the middle of Bourbon Street. Like,
oh, he was serious about actual point. Oh my!
Yeah,
I thought it was like
he had this moment of a flashback. It's like, because it was like I turned around, I was like, he's like dead serious. He goes, "Who's on point?" Because we're walking around in the group like,
oh my
down
God,
Bourbon Street, like walking en masse down Bourbon Street. It's like, who's on point?
Oh my God, that is so terrible. Wow, I hope he snapped out of that. Whoa.
Yeah, and that was a guy that nobody would room with too, because he had a snoring thing where it's like you could be in the next hotel room, you could hear him snoring. It's like a busted chainsaw. I won't say his name to it. I won't embarrass him, but
no, that's fine. Oh my God, that is oh my God, on point. I thought it was like, how like a wingman college guy talk sort of thing. So I thought on point was college guy talk at first, but nope, it was the real deal.
It was the real deal.
Oh my God, that's insane.
I mean, again, it was great that when we got to do, we'd be going like say from Jackson, Mississippi over to Pensacola. We'd actually schedule a day off so we could actually have a day off to enjoy New Orleans or something.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with Memphis. Memphis is a cool town. We went to Graceland. Mm-hmm. You ever go to Graceland?
No.
It's it is what it is, as they say, but it was actually kind of a cool place. I remember going in there, and another one of those vivid memories. I'm thinking this place is pretty cheesy, but cool. And we're in the jungle room, and I'm like, and the announcer's like, Elvis picked out all this furniture right down in town here at Danny's in only 20 minutes. I'm thinking to myself, oh, it took him that long, huh? But God bless him. The couple right next to me, the guy turns to his wife. He's looking around in amazement. He goes, "Nice." Just the way he said nice was like, I had to remember that. Just that moment of like, nice.
This is what I'm going to do when I decorate.
Nice.
Excellent.
That was probably what Elvis was going for too. So like, oh, nice.
Speaking of Elvis, I asked this question to a lot of people, and I generally love asking musicians. It's kind of a two-parter. First question is, in your opinion, who is the most influential or greatest rock band / entity? Like, there's Bruce Springsteen and there's, Boston, but count them as one thing, like, as an entity. What is the greatest entity of music of all time, most influential?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. It gets worse.
I mean, having grown up through the 60s and 70s, I remember the effect that the Beatles had on culture. It wasn't just music. It was across the boards. There was a cultural shift with them. So, then I think back, well, look at from in the business, you go, okay, well, look at Buddy Holly was writing and he wanted to, he's doing his song. So there was a paradigm shift there. Then you go back to, okay, well, look back at Little Richard and Chuck Berry. So there's so many different musical epochs where you gotta go, it was almost like you couldn't have this without that.
Yeah.
And of course, again, getting back to the Beatles, what do they listen to? They listen to Chuck Berry and all these things. In fact, I think John Lennon but had said something about basically if you play music, you learn from Chuck Berry.
Mm-hmm.
So does that answer the question?
It does. It actually destroys the second part, which no one has ever done, and I congratulate you. Because most people will say Beatles, and then they'll go, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll go, Led Zeppelin, maybe, or Rolling, they're like that, and I'm like, okay. What about the greatest American band or group entity? Because a lot of times people will say British ones, but you've taken care of the whole thing, I think. Because
again, one time when we were in Memphis, I went to a little Q&A with Sam Phillips, who was, by the way, an amazing raconteur. That guy could tell a story. It was amazing to listen to him give firsthand accounts of working with Elvis and everything.
Oh, wow.
And again, what a blessing to be able to just hear that firsthand, be in the same room with the guy. And so, I mean, the old joke, we stand on the shoulders. We really do stand on the shoulder of all these people that came before us. And I don't know, the music business has changed so much in the last decade or so that there's a disconnect there. I think. I don't know if you feel that, but it almost seems like, and I think it's somewhat reflective of American culture. I think we're the only culture that doesn't hold our elders in high esteem. We don't seek their wisdom. Yeah. We don't respect them as a source point for knowledge. Yeah. It's just like, they reach a certain point and it's like, okay, you've exceeded your shelf life. Time to move off.
Yeah, it's true.
Find an ice flow or something. and I think unfortunately that's funny because I make a point of watching like music videos. I like VH1. I'll put the music video channel on when I'm up in the kitchen or something cooking, and just to get a sense of, what are people listening to? Because again, in this business, you have to maintain a level of currency, not currency as in money, but a current, being able to understand what's going on in the current music scene. And it's interesting waters to navigate now, because there's a paradigm shift in production and in the way artists are presented. And again, MTV was a great boon for music, but by the same token, it also took some of the audio, being able to quantify it as being a good song, just as a song, versus, I really like that video. It's like it's a book in the movie. It takes the imagination away from the song, so you're not just listening to the music anymore. And it's a combined medium that I think has somewhat detracted from the audio portion of it.
I think you're 100% correct, because as music started to get something I wasn't enjoying anymore. Like, I didn't really like 90s music too much, and I didn't like in the 2000s. And more and more, I have to start going to search for stuff that I like instead. And I actually started going back in time to bands I didn't like, because I was a heavy metal fan and a hair band fan. So U2, Depeche Mode, all that stuff, The Cure, I was just like, that's the other team. But now I'm going back and revisiting that. And without the videos, I like the music, because I hated the video.
Yeah,
and so you're so right.
Smith.
Yes, you're so right. The video pissed me off. That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah, again, that's it's when you start analyzing things that way, you go, oh yeah, what is it I don't like about this? And a lot of times, and it's funny, if you're an 80s fan, you can't listen to Sirius radio in the car, because the whatever algorithm they're using to compress the music is just painful to listen to.
Oh, really?
So it's one of those. I wish sometimes I could listen to I don't know. I don't know who's playing on it, because I can't. Every time I turn it on, the guitars are washy and they're being phased out by because you're using all this sound field and stereo enhancement, which does not translate well to that particular algorithm they're using. And
and they're not using it. They're not using anything physical probably either. It's probably all digital.
Like, I mean, it's like I still buy CDs because I can't. I listen to MP3 and stuff. It's just like there's stuff missing.
You don't know until you do it. If anyone has a CD, you put a CD in your car for a change, and you will. The difference is just mind blowing.
Well, except now I can't put a CD in my car.
Right, you have to have an old enough car.
Yeah, like I've got friends who have kept cars because they had CD players.
Yeah,
still.
Exactly. Oh, that's so fascinating.
You hear that, Mazda?
Speaking of tastes and dislikes, I personally am. I'm very critical about new music, and it's hard because I have a 17-year-old and she likes a lot of really bad music. She likes a lot of really great music too, because she kind of grew up with the band and stuff, so she likes all the classics as well. However, I find myself when she's listening to songs going, why is this song the same exact song as I heard a week ago with different lyrics. And why does that piss me off so much? And why should I care so much? And please help me stop caring so much. Or is it okay that it bothers me that the song is just being repeated over and over again with different lyrics? I need to chill out.
Well, again, I think you reach a certain age where there are nuances that we're not hearing. whatever dog whistles that are in the songs that we're hearing the same drum. It was like the disco era, the same drum beat, same hi-hat pattern, and just different words. It's everything goes in cycles, and I think the cycles get shorter too. I mean, I remember going from the 50s, where you got again your Chuck Berry's Little Richard. But then you have the white people stealing the cultural appropriation.
Oh yeah.
Then so you got Pat Boone and you got Elvis and everybody's doing rock and roll. Then same thing. I mean, the same thing happens over and over. Same thing with the disco era. Then you get the white artists. They kind of move in, and every once in a while there's a cleansing sorbet for whatever musical period we're going through. Like there was the punk movement, which cleaned out disco. Then there was, because eventually the music, any genre will collapse under its own weight because market gets saturated. Same thing with, the big hair 80s rock bands, the grunge thing came in was a cleansing sorbet. It's again, this kind of a stripped down something. It's like punk music that again, when the music collapses under its own weight, in these periods, there's always something that has that, that connecting tissue that finally, kills, takes it out of its own misery.
So it just doesn't seem to have that problem, though. It seems to have kind of stayed the same.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, which I found very interesting because, like, I'll hear hip hop songs now, and I'll go, "That's incredibly similar to hip hop songs in the '80s." Like it's kind of not changed at all. It's bizarre, and we just got bigger and bigger too. It's not like it's an obscure part of music.
Oh no, that's probably the biggest selling market.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Then again, look at, there's country. Look at country. There's like this bro country thing. You got hip hop guys in country. It's sort of the, I guess, the cultural appropriation.
Yeah. Everybody dips into country a little bit. It seems for sure. And then there's stadium country and then old type country. And stadium country to me just is a revamp of 80s hair bands with slightly different with a, it seems.
Well, look at Garth Brooks. There was sort of a transitional figure in country music that took the whole, big stadium show that people weren't doing. You wouldn't see George Strait jumping off a drum riser or anything. Maybe you do. I never did. I'm told he didn't.
Wait, you never saw him, but you did jump off.
He's okay.
You did jump off though, doing splits in the air.
Yeah. But yeah, he so there's always that, and again, I'm just waiting for see what's next. Maybe it'll be good.
I'm waiting for the time where like someone's just listening to music and it's just and they're just like, isn't this awesome? I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why is that music? Because I say that now, but it could just get worse. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. let's hope that's not the criteria.
But it has made me able to go and look for music, and that's been enjoyable. I think Pandora is probably my favorite app for music because you put in any song and it'll start giving you ideas that you might not like, and that's how I found a bunch of music that I used to hate, and like, I like this now. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll have a client say, "Hey, what do you guys, I want to get a sense of when I'm producing somebody, what do you guys like to listen to? What, I want to get ideas as far as stylistically or production wise." And I've gotten turned on to some great artists. One of the greatest, the late great Kevin Gilbert. I don't know if you ever listened to Kevin Gilbert.
I don't know the name.
But if you've never listened to Kevin, he had a band called Toy Matinee, which is sort of more the 80s thing. Mm-hmm. Look up Kevin Gilbert. He's got an album called The Shaming of the True. What a takeoff on the Shaming of the Shrew. Yep. About the music business. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. He's a.
I would write a note, but when I'm editing this, I will get the note.
Yeah, one of my favorite dead geniuses. Yeah, he was an amazing talent, and he's just one of those people that just he had the voice, great all around musician, and he was a producer too. And great production. Just
And
one
you
of those
wouldn't
guys
have heard
who
it
were Renaissance.
unless the client told you about it, really.
In fact, he's the guy who gave us Sheryl Crow.
Oh, really?
Cheryl was his girlfriend. He brought her into his writing group, the Tuesday Night Music Club.
What? What's that?
Bill Bottrell and a few other guys that were, heavyweights at the time. Kevin had a little writing group. And he brought Cheryl into that, and the rest is history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of history, you have a Grammy nomination. You're on a CD.
I work, of all things, with a New Age project, and it was we don't talk about that in our house because my wife's still mad about it.
Why?
It was the year that Pat Metheny's record label decided we're going to enter Pat into a New Age category here for an acoustic covers album he did, and he ended up, of course, when you're in a category with Pat Metheny, chances are, I don't know, New Age, huh? Oh, Pat Metheny's in it. Poop. I'll check that box. And funny, years later, I was at a Pat Metheny show because we can't play Pat Metheny in the house here because of my wife. And I was talking to Pat after the show, and I said, "Hey, my wife's still kind of upset with you." He was kind of taken aback. He goes, "Before?" I goes, "Well, that Grammy you got for the acoustic album?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Well," I said, "Well, we're in that category, and my wife's kind of pissed about that." She goes, he said, "That was a record label. I had nothing to do with that."
He's taking it serious.
And he it was funny. He goes, he actually wrote, "Sorry, Wendy." He signed the program, "Sorry, Wendy."
Oh, that's hilarious. And that was called Northern Seas, although we can't
Northern
say
Seas, yeah. It's again one of those, if you're doing a New Age project, I'm your guy.
Nice. Actually, it's funny because when you said that you had done the music for Late Night Saturday with Tim Cavanaugh.
Tim, yeah.
I was talking to Tim yesterday, and he was telling me that you also did a song. Was it for the hot dog? Oh, wait, what was it for?
Oh, yeah.
Was it the hot dog lady?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's funny, you do these things and it's like RAM memory. It's like you do it and it's like gone.
Oh, yeah. I think of it as like a desktop with folders, and I can't see what's inside them because I have my view wrong. And then if you double click, I'm like, oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's again, the fun that we have. I mean, I've done jingles for Chorus Brewing Company. We did one for their Zima. I did a jingle for Zima.
Oh, wow.
I did one for Coors Extra Gold Light, the rich, smooth, darker light beer.
Now, are you by men, and weren't you responsible for that?
I take no responsibility. Although I'll tell you, I used to do a lot of voiceover work, and I've probably said Tap Corners Williston more than anybody else in history. He's like, I was the guy they always hired when they wanted what we call the drag racing commercial. Top fuel, nitro burning tractors, and the funny cars. Shake hands with devils at the gates of hell at 300 miles an hour. Big Daddy, Shirley, Cha-Cha, Bull Downey. And the funny cars. We did a lot of those.
Did you ever say, "You'll pay for a whole seat, but only need the edge"?
I have said that, but you won't use it.
Oh, that's great.
Andy Dodge Toyota turning up the heat with smoke and summer savings.
Oh, my God. Now, Have you always had this theatrical voice ability, or is it something you've done, you acquired through what you do? Because I'm sure it's easier for you to just do it than to hire a voice actor. So you had to.
Yeah, I don't know. There are like only three of the true American art forms: jazz, tap, and the drag racing commercial. Did you ever hear a Canadian drag racing commercial?
I don't think so,
awful. Way too polite.
Oh, really?
Oh, and they'll be going fast. I remember these Sanair commercials who come on. It's like, it's painful. Where's your energy? So yeah, I mean, again, it's there's a certain persona you take on. It's like, there used to be these two guys out of Texas. They'd all like all the concert commercials. Kiss is coming to the Providence Civic Center. One of those kind of things.
Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Great Lakes
Strangling, you Grove, Wisconsin, Big Daddy Gun Girls. And the voice would go up like 2 octaves. And they used to do the dovetail thing where there'd be 2 guys and the guy would take over, halfway,
Yes.
right at the end of the line, they'd dovetail all the stuff. Of course, I did it by myself. So I did, offset the tracks. So that,
right. So it seemed like you didn't need to breathe.
yeah.
Breathing.
So there. Again, tap, jazz, and the drag racing commercial.
That's fantastic. Oh my God. That is.
So if you need one of those, you let me know. Like I said,
I probably could think of a reason to have that. For certain.
And I'd get these commercial reads in. I did a lot of work with my good friends at Channel 3, and I get these commercial reads in, and the copywriters would like have this list of things that people didn't care about, like all the different qualities of a mattress. And you had to read it so fast, it sounded like an auction. I mean, it was like, nobody cares about that. Just, say something that makes them feel good. It's like, they don't need to know how many buttons are on a mattress.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. So
yeah. You wear a lot of hats in this business.
Well, you'd have to, really. Have you ever done any Foley work, like for anyone who doesn't know what Foley is, recording sounds?
Not really. Not really that. I've done a lot of audio for like radio and stuff where you have to do sound effect things in the context, but never any real official Foley work.
Any mixing for films or anything?
I've mixed a couple for some TV shows. I did a rally car show, which was interesting because I had to mix all these announcers in with. Then they had the video of the car coming over the right, so I had to go panned across there, and so yeah, that was for NBC Sports. But yeah, that was a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of a sudden you go to in-car camera, so you have to keep the audio consistent. But like all of a sudden they're inside the shot, wherever the shot was, you had the audio had to reflect whatever you're seeing to maintain that sort of continuity of so the listeners are like, oh
yeah, totally
get pulled out
now. Do you stream live for anything? Do you do like Twitch or TikTok or anything like that? Because you seem like you should.
No, I've never done that, but every once in a while, I think I probably should. If I was smart and more ambitious, I probably would.
You should. You have the personality. You have insane amounts of talent that you could do. It's everything about. You have the studio. You have microphones, camera. Why don't you stream?
Yeah, I'd have to do it in my spare time.
All you would have to do. No, you don't even have to do that.
Really?
You could just copy your screen or take your screen, put it on, take a camera, put it on you, and work. And if you feel like talking to chat, you talk to chat. If you don't, you don't. And I guarantee you would do well eventually. And just hit stream and work normally, and it would be perfect. People do that all the time. I watch people edit on Adobe Photoshop all the time, which is something I never thought I would say, but I do. Because
we've got people working around the clock trying to find a cure.
I'm telling you, it would work.
Be like watching a fishing show. I don't know, or golf.
No, it's because they're golf.
I used to see my son would be watching these videos of people playing video games and going,
"Yeah, I don't know what that's like."
Again, it's just me because I don't even play video games. I just don't have that kind of time.
I understand.
Word games, I got no time.
I understand.
I got time. I'm playing guitar.
That's wonderful. I wish that I had something more productive than video games that I was passionate about. Well, this. Yeah. No, actually, it's funny you say that because I actually stream video games too. And I'm terrible at it, but yeah,
people, there's an audience for that.
Hell yeah.
It's like MSTK 3000 Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
That show there. Basically, I guess it's the same premise. People watching a movie, you're watching them watching a movie. They're saying funny shit. Some people can't afford a nice enough computer to play the video game either, and so they kind of play it through them, they sort of live it with them. Oh.
Vicarious
game playing.
If you like video games. Okay, so I took your phonetic spelling or enunciation of your last name on Facebook, and I put it into my Word. And then I think I know how to say it, but I feel like there should be another one underneath it that does the phonetic spelling of the phonetic spelling because I'm terrible at reading words. Is it Maquera?
Maquera. It's like mascara without the S.
Thank you. I need analogies. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maquera. Got it. I like it. Okay. Thank you. Because like
it's Philippine.
Because what is it?
It's Philippine.
Oh, I thought you were okay. Philippine.
No, they don't say the F's there, so it's Philippine.
Oh, that's what I heard. So I was like, what is it?
It's Philippine.
Okay. So yeah, because like everybody that knows you doesn't call you by your last name. You're Andre, and everyone knows who the hell you're talking about when you say, "Oh, you mean Andre?" So I've never thought about saying your last name before. Yeah, it's like Ezra. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Although there are two Ezras now. There's Ezra Mulheron, then there's Ezra Matthew Mercury Ezra.
Oh, okay. I just know sound guy Ezra.
Yeah.
That's all.
We're old school. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Or Oxo.
Yep.
But we all know his real name, and it's the same as the president.
And it's easy to pronounce.
Yes, it is.
Jimmy Crater. No, Carter.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, that's cool. So what are some of the bands that you've played with in the area? Like locally in the Burlington area, Burlington, Vermont area.
I mean, as a player or share a stage?
Bands that were established with their own members, and you've played at the same night with them. Like, you ever played with Run 21 or?
No, I know. I've known. It's funny. Dougie, I call him Dougie. I knew Doug. Doug's from Connecticut, the guitar player. I don't know if you know Doug.
Oh yeah, we played with them once. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've known Doug. Doug used to come to our band rehearsals in Connecticut, it was in Manchester, Connecticut, and he used to live near our drummer at the time. So this little kid used to come and hang out at our rehearsals. And
oh wow.
And Doug and I still he's in, I believe, Sweden or Finland, one of those Scandinavian countries now. But we write periodically back to each other. But I don't know if I've ever played in the same, because usually we would play there or they would be there. We'd go there on an off night and hang out with them.
Right.
But I mean, there's so many. I mean, there was a period where there were so many good bands. I mean, the business attracted talented people who could. I mean, we survived playing music, which you really can't do now. You know, it's music has become an avocation. You can't feed your family. You can't pay your bills by being in a band.
Right.
Whereas we lived in a golden age where you could, you'd play 6 nights a week or whatever, and you bring home a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so again,
and you could sell your music.
Well, here's the thing. I always thought of it. It's almost like the Major League Baseball. You have single A ball, double A ball, triple A ball. You got your major league teams. And there used to be a regular circuit out there where, we'd be on like, the AAA circuit, and every once in a while you'd get to do like a big arena or some show like that. But, and there was a ready supply of players. So if you lost somebody, you needed a new player, you go to the club and go, okay. You go to a club which had like AA ball or AAA ball players, and you'd see, okay, that's so-and-so. Yeah, he'd be a good fit. But we don't have that. We don't have that tier system anymore in this business. It's like all single A clubs with a couple AA clubs out there now. So the business has changed a lot. So I mean, back then, it was Run 21. We had all the bands that played at Club New England and Texas. They were killer bands. Of course, my memory. I'm trying to think. If you name a name, I'll
Quadra. They're still playing.
Yeah, of course. Those guys are still around, Mike, and those guys.
God.
Northern Star from New York. Another band, Triffid from New York. Another good band that used to play Texas. I still talk to those guys sometimes. Johnny from Triffid.
Now that's interesting. I recently being 10 years.
That's recent to me. I'm old. It's like a small fraction of my life.
I didn't realize that April Wine was from the St. Albans. Is that correct? Can you confirm that?
No. They're actually from Toronto.
Oh, all right.
Brian, one of the guitar players, lived out in Montgomery. Actually, Brian's a buddy of mine. I met Brian through Aldo. back in the Aldo days. And Brian got to be a really good buddy. And circling back to voiceovers, one of the commercials I had to do was for the Spirit of Ethan Allen. And I said, well, we want to have a pirate voice on this. And I knew Brian did a pirate voice. So, hey, Brian, you want to come do this with us? Sure. So ever since that day, he's been known as I call him Wacky the Pirate, because one of the great lines that you'd never hear of pirates say, go, "Hi there, middies! If you're looking for a bit of adventure, climb aboard the Spirit of Ethan Allen. Be sure to bring your Pepsi Price Chopper coupon." Things a pirate would never say. Be sure to bring your Pepsi Price Chopper coupon.
That is hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my God. I want to do voiceovers now. That sounds so much fun.
And again, Brian's so we got to be pretty good buddies. In fact, we met our OBGYN and our pediatrician through Brian. We were at a pool party when Wendy and I were first seeing each other, and we got introduced. He's no, this is Len. He's going to be your OBGYN, and this is Dan. He's going to be your pediatrician. Thinking we don't even have a kid yet. it's like, but
here's
sure enough, those were our doctors. So
wow.
Yeah, met him at a pool party.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, you know, you can't. It's hard to get good recommendations nowadays.
Well, yeah, they say go to a pool party at another guitarist's house. And I'll tell you one other thing. April Wine, one of the nicest humans in the world. Jerry Mercer, the drummer. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I don't know if you've seen behind a cat. He looks like this giant, and he's like my height. He's I don't know, like 5'8". Although I think I'm taller. And he's just like this monster behind a kit. It's just this force of nature back there. But he's like the nicest guy. And,
wow.
One of those people that's just such a sweetheart of a guy. I remember, I don't know if you've ever seen April Wine, but one of his trademarks was he had the strobe light going. He'd have the strobe light. He'd be doing this big drum roll. I'd be doing that. And he said, I got the idea. I was doing the timing on my old car. And I was thinking, hey, if I do this thing with a strobe light, it looked like I'm going in slow motion.
Yeah. That's pretty smart.
And I said, that's cool. And years later, they're doing the big arena tours. And he says, so this buddy of mine comes up and says, hey, you can do that drum thing you do, the thing with, because he said, we don't have the strobe lights. What am I going to do? Go, oh yeah, I guess I could do that. So he does like a buzz roll with one hand, and he still does the trick, but he's just doing a buzz roll with one hand, and goes back to the other one.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's like, what am I going to do? Do this? I guess I could.
That's funny because I've seen a lot of drum tricks in my life, but my favorite one was actually from Run 21. I can't remember the drummer's name. He was also in Wasp.
Stat Howland.
Yes. He would do the thing where he would go around the room to hit the bottles and keep timing the entire time and make it all the way back around to the drum beat while they took breaks. The rest of the band. I thought that was fantastic. I don't know how old I was, but I was just I don't even think I was supposed to be in the bar. It was at what was that place on Main Street across from the City Hall Park? Oh God.
Wasn't it Texas?
Huh. No, it was later than that. It was right on Main Street.
Oh, down at Buddha's, way down,
further
down.
Buddha's, that's it. Yeah.
You did a jingle for Buddha's, too.
You did? When
you're ready to rock, roll into Buddha's. Oh. Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I have some things in my life where I have felt things did not work out to no fault of my own. Where a big thing could have happened and then something else destroyed it. Have you had any?
Make it look like an accident.
Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, just, do you have anything like that where something was going? I'm sure you don't hold on to it because I don't feel like you're the type of person, but do you have any that you can think of that when you look back, you go, well, I almost did this, but then this got in the way, like a roadblock?
Well, I'll tell you a story. I way back in the day, and this I had no control over. When they were auditioning replacements for Ace Frehley and Kiss, I went down. I got to meet with Bill O'Coin and everything, and at their manager's headquarters there. And I was considered as a finalist for the gig. And then they ended up taking Vinnie Vincent because Vinnie had been writing with Paul at the time. So I was like, yeah, cool. Not really my cup of tea, but I figured it'd be a cool gig to have. Then years later, when 8084 first started, I get this call from this guy, Joey Belladonna. He goes, hey, I'm starting this new band now, and you come highly recommended. And now, of course, I never spilled a drink in this guy's lap in my life, but still, I came highly recommended. And I said, I just got in this band 8084, so I'm gonna stick with this for now and see how this goes. And of course, the band that he started was Anthrax. Okay, well,
That's what I meant. Something like that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that you're the type of guy to dwell on it. I think you're super happy. The way everything's awesome. I just, those stories are interesting to me.
Interrupt you, but I was going to say, I mean, I live my life without hyperbole, with no regrets. I have no regrets whatsoever. I mean, I go to bed at night, I put my head on my pillow. It's like, hey, but this my lovely bride. I get to make music. I get, this is, I lead a charmed life. So I have absolutely no regrets.
That's fantastic. All right. You didn't answer me about Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi is probably my most influential person that's ever made me feel like I wanted to do music, as much as he may not be everybody, he's not someone people really look at and go, oh, very influential in music. For some reason it spoke to me, and I used to do air band stuff all the time because of Bon Jovi. And I know you said he wrote a song for you guys. What could you tell me about your time that you've spent with him or talked to him or anything like that?
We didn't spend any time with him. He was, we were up at Aldo. So, I mean, other than talking briefly on the phone, but no, I have a great respect for any artist that finds the keys to the kingdom, that can create art that resonates with everybody. To me, I love Richie Sambora. I think, is he a flashy guitarist? No. Does he serve the song? Yes. I mean, that's the quintessential hallmark of a great musician, is whoever serves the song. And Richie always played the right parts for the song. Everything fit. And the same thing with John. He knew how to craft a song. He was a good performer. Again, these things are, to us aspirational, because we see this like, yeah, that's an idealized version of who I could become.
Yeah.
So no, I've got immense amount of respect for him. Again, as a writer, as a performer, now as a human being, doing the restaurants that he does.
Soul Kitchen.
How about that? I mean, that's giving it back, paying it back. That's the real shit there. I mean, that's where the rubber meets the road. When you do that, when you reach that level and you go, you know what? Why not?
I agree. I totally agree.
It's when I see these stars, we've donated $500,000. I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably what you spent on, meals for the month. It's not a big deal, but when you create an environment in a restaurant where you're feeding people, that people can go there, it's a living, breathing thing that has continuity, that serves a purpose. That's high order. That's good. I mean, that's what we should aspire. That's the kind of thing that people should go, that's what I respect. To me, that's of all his accomplishments. It's, even as a musician, I'd say that's probably the coolest to me.
I agree. I think I looked into it quite a bit because I was very interested in just how it worked. Because I'm like, is he really just funding a place, that a kitchen, a school, or a restaurant that basically feeds people for free? And kind of, yeah. But people that go in there, they also work if they want. But you can just eat, Yep. And yeah, he just basically, it's a place to go and feel good about yourself and eat a good meal. And for, if you can't afford it, it's free. It's amazing. It really is. I think it's fantastic. Totally fantastic.
So if that answers, I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah, to me, that's the thing, again, I still remember the first time seeing You Give Love a Bad Name. And again, the video, and I'm going, oh, dang, well, somebody did that already. Damn it. Got to find some new shtick.
So wait, did you have ideas for things you wanted to do and you saw them in that?
Well, just their approach to, the big show and everything, and just the whole, energy and that whole thing. Yeah, I was like, you know, it's like that's kind of what we're doing, but on a world scale.
Right. Yeah. Who I never actually asked this. I think you've mentioned it, but I couldn't catch it because a lot of the names flew by me because they're guitar players that I don't know. But who are some of your biggest influences?
Oh God.
And who are they?
Other
if I
than
don't
Lou
know the
Marino
name.
Sr.
Who?
Lou Marino Sr. No.
Right.
When I was growing up, I was really into Ritchie Blackmore and Deep Purple and Buck Dharma and Blue Oyster Cult, Michael Schenker. You know, the guys that I tended to like. One of the things I have always sort of I hear it in guitar players. European guitar players have a different vibrato because I think they're influenced more by classical music. So you hear almost like that kind of violin vibrato, and it's like a wider, slower vibrato. Like Michael Schenker has great vibrato. Neil Schon, I love Neil Schon. That's another guy. Neil Schon serves a song. Guy is a badass shredder guy, but you listen to it, he has the most lyrical guitar solos. Listen to the solo in Who's Crying Now. It's just, you know, it's like that's the most memorable part of the song. You know, Al Di Meola was a big influence because he was a fusion. I don't know if you know, you probably don't know Al Di Meola, but he was a fusion guy, played with Chick Corea. And he was one of the first guys that showed me how articulate you could be with technique, speed, and fluency. He was just one of those guys that had it all, put it all together. And what I call the Chuck Yeager principle. Until Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier, everybody thought, well, nobody's going to do that. No. You know, people were crashing and dying because that was one of those things you couldn't get past. Then all of a sudden, he did. And so it's like with guitar playing, it's like, well, there's a speed limit. You can only go so fast, so precisely. Then, of course, you know, since then there has been Yngwie and all these other shredder guys. But at the time, it was like, wow, listen to that. You can hear every note. It's so articulate.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's what I call the Chuck Yeager principle that something can't be done till it can.
Right. And they'd be accused of being on steroids if they did beat it. So
yeah. And Tim Pierce, great guitar player. I'll tell you, one of the great guitar albums. People always laugh at me when I say this. One of the great guitar albums, Rick Springfield, "Living in Oz." You want to hear great serve the song guitar playing? Tim Pierce playing with Rick Springfield, "Living in Oz." Superb.
Oh wow.
Just one of those guys. He's another LA session guy, but killer. Just he serves the song. He's got a great YouTube channel too, so look him up.
Well, I will. And it's funny because the reason why I'm not writing this down is because I'm going to be seeing this 1,000 times.
I'm going to be editing this, and it's going to drive you crazy. It's like, I hear another peep out of that jerk.
Oh my God, no. Tim, I felt that way with Tim. I was really sick of his tones. I was
God, yeah. Shut up. That's funny. I've been telling all my friends, he just did the thing with Tim, and he's going to do one with Luis Guzman, but after me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
as one would.
That's right.
Hollywood schmollywood. Who cares?
Yeah. Officially, it's not set in stone. However, I am going to put the energy out there and beyond.
And beyond.
One question I definitely want to save for the end. It's a question that I ask a lot of people. Not just here, obviously, since this is the second one, so I don't have an always. I will after this, but
well, did you ask Tim?
I did. I screwed it up.
Okay, so you always ask that.
That's right. I screwed it up, and he fixed it for me because I hadn't asked it in so long because of COVID. I hadn't talked to really anyone.
Yeah, small sample size, but yeah.
Yes,
100%.
exactly. But something before I get to that, I wanted to ask you. I noticed like on Facebook, and you stay pretty chill on politics, which is good. I think that's smart. I don't. But like, how do you do that? How do you? Because you seem like a passionate person. So
well, fortunately, my wife is a lot smarter than me when she goes, no, don't do that. No.
You check with your wife then. Okay.
Well, she'll ride herd on me as far as keeping me. I won't post, I might respond on a friend's page when they post some stupid shit. I'll just, and I always try to be, I would never say anything to anyone online that I wouldn't say to their face. So I always try to be respectful. And again, that sense of decorum that's lost. I always say you can disagree without being disagreeable. I've got plenty of friends on both sides of the aisle. I'm a musician. I'm, hard left leaning, but again, I'm also pragmatic. Do I think defund the police is the stupidest slogan ever?
Agreed.
Yes, I do.
The slogan sucks.
It's like if you have to explain your bumper sticker with 4 sentences, it's a crappy bumper sticker.
You're so right.
That's
I've
the whole
said
thing.
this so much.
I know I don't.
Because you have to end with, well, it's not defund the police.
Please. But that's what it says. It's like, say what you will about the Republicans. They go for the throat, and and it's not like,
You're so right.
But,
oh my God.
But who makes the best commercials? The Lincoln Project. All Republicans.
Yeah. I'm with
they're
you.
the guys who are going out there going for the throat because they know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the old joke about, Democrats, what's it? Republicans fall in line, Democrats fall in love. We have these like passionate about these things, but those guys, it's like we, they don't care. It's like, okay, we've chosen a direction.
Yeah.
We're sticking to it.
Yeah. But
there's a cliff there. We don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They
Again,
unify. They unify really well.
Yeah. That's why, Democrats are so damn good at losing elections.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't post anything political because I've got friends on both sides, and that's my page isn't for political. Every once in a while, somebody will try to interject something, and I'll quickly get rid of it because again, that's not the platform, and we're non-denominational when it comes to politics on there, but so we went through a debacle about a year ago with one of our members in the band, and people were accusing me of being, well, you play with that person, so you must be. No, I just choose not to be so open about, imposing my particular beliefs on anyone. Everybody's entitled to their own beliefs. I'm smart enough to know I'm not smart enough. One of the things I respect about, on the Democratic side is, well, people will, when Biden does something stupid, we'll say, yeah, that was dumb. What happened if you couldn't do that last year? You couldn't do that during the Trump era. You couldn't. There was no room for criticism. There was no wiggle room whatsoever for just reality sometimes. And
what do you think causes that?
Well, it's from the top down. I mean, there was no tolerance for any kind of, there was, from Trump, you deviate the slightest bit. If you're not genuflecting just enough, then you'd get that, then you get a mean tweet. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, people joke about, well, I don't want to get a mean tweet, but they live in fear of that.
Yeah. And
I can't imagine, you can't govern a nation living in fear of one unhinged child's mean tweet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a scary notion when we get to the point where, that we can't question. I know people say that, the government, anybody that gets in the government saying that, government's all bad, is like, well, you shouldn't get in it then. If you're against government or the people that are going supporting the truckers, the whole truckers thing is like, if you're supporting this big trucker blockade, then you've lost the right to complain about supply chain. You can't complain about supply chain and encourage people to block the supply chain.
Right. Be consistent.
Again, it also gets down to, and again, I don't mean to pontificate about this, but it also gets down to the memory span of the average American is, last week he said this, but now he's saying this.
You need to start streaming, man.
Watch some of those mashups of Fox News where it's like, they're talking about the blockade versus the, when the immigrants were coming in the border in the South. Some of them aren't vaccinated. We should be vaccinating them right at the border. It's like, now all of a sudden they're going to show the truckers like, no, they're against vaccinations. We should just, choose a team. Or when Trump was meeting with Kim Jong-un, it was like, then they play the tape back to, Obama thinks he could just go there with the strength of his personality and meet with Kim Jong-un with no preconditions. Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah.
This whole thing. And again, the hypocrisy, when you put those things back to back, you go, I wonder if they're not being maybe they're ingenuous. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's
So again,
both sides too that do the same thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I understand the filter, and I could filter whatever network I'm watching. I mean, I miss Brian Williams, and that was my late night jam.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Jon Stewart had stayed on the air, I don't think Trump would have been elected, because somebody could have sort of put him in his place and going, no, you're kidding me, right? He just said that, and I always think back to that there's got to be that Jack Welch moment. Not Jack Welch. He was General Electric. Joseph Welch during the McCarthy era when he finally said, "At long last, sir, have you no sense of decency?" That I was waiting for that moment through the whole Trump administration where, okay, this has got to be a bridge too far. That can't be okay. No, there was never that. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you no sense of decency? There was never that moment.
No,
there was no bridge too far where you could, you could make fun of anybody. You could, again, I don't understand that standard. The cancel culture. Who's the first people complain about cancel culture? The people on the right. Well, it's good news for Colin Kaepernick. We don't want that cancel culture coming our way.
You're so correct. It's my biggest pet peeve about all of it is everybody's too goddamn mean on social media, and it makes people entrench themselves because it's hard to listen to someone that's calling you an idiot.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You have to, again, never say anything to anyone that you wouldn't say to their face. I mean, that's, and I know there are plenty of things on the left that annoy me. Again, not being pragmatic about things, understanding that you have to compromise too. It's not just the people on the right that have to compromise. We have to, as a progressive, you still have to make concessions, because guess what? There's, 47% of the country feels the exact opposite. So if you can meet somewhere in the middle, that's really what it's all about. I mean, granted, the other side tends not to, there's this scorched earth approach to everything. Everything, anytime you give in, it's like, oh, there's weakness there. I sense the weakness. No, we can't. No. So. Yeah.
It's too bad because anytime you make any kind of insult to Donald Trump, you lose anyone that's on most of the people on the right, because they've been so primed to think you're being hostile to them. Not. Yeah. No, that's, and again, it just boggles my mind that such a flawed human has garnered that much support. It's to me, it's like, what's it? There was I remember seeing, again, so many memes. He's like the poor person's idea of a rich person, a stupid person's idea of a smart guy, and all these other things. Like, I guess. I wouldn't put that on my page, but I kind of. Yeah, just a cheeky little like, but that's all I'm going to.
Yeah. And so again, true. It's you can't. It's a head scratcher.
Well, I mean, I get upset about Biden. I was upset Biden before he was elected. I already knew what was going to happen. I mean, he was going to give us a bunch of money, and then he was going to stop everything. And but if somebody said Biden sucks, I'm not going to go, hey, how dare you? I'm like, yeah, he kind of blows right now. I agree.
Well, here's the thing. When people talk about being senile and all this other stuff, you listen to him talk. I'm thinking, again, you kind of got to temper that with the fact the guy has a serious speech impediment.
Yeah.
So sometimes, as one of those tools is you switch words out because you're going to have trouble saying a word. So, I mean, I can understand that. How do you explain, again, 4 years of Trump? If you want to talk about stupid crap coming out of somebody's mouth.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's hard to kind of parse that if you're, again, we sort of went off on a political tangent, but yeah, that's, I guess people can hate me for my political beliefs, but I wouldn't impose them on anyone. These are just,
Well, I like having a conversation like this. I like talking face to face with people on the right, because you have good conversations, because you can see their face, you can emote back and forth, you have empathy, and you like each other and all that stuff. But as soon as you get on Facebook, everybody's just text, and everything's taken negatively.
Yeah.
And I'll say, look, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, this is just my opinion. Calm down. And they're like, you told me to calm down.
I'll calm down in all caps.
Yeah. I'm I'm not going to say anything mean to you back. I know you just called me those 5 names, but I won't say it back. I'm just having a conversation. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. All right. I guess this is not working.
Well, they're typing so hard it's coming out in boldface. What? Not only caps with boldface.
Oh my God. Okay. So I do have that final crazy question.
Okay. I'll sip my coffee first to give it some thought.
Okay. You're in the room that you're in right now, and burst through the door is you. Except you're dirtier, you have some rips in your shirt, and you look frantic. And you run over, he runs over to you and says, I'm from the future. You have to come with me right now. Now, don't think of it as a fantasy. Think of it as if it actually happened. What would you do?
Well, do I get to ask what's going on?
You can do anything you want.
I'd say, okay, what's going on? What do I need to bring?
All right, that's what I'm looking for. One of my friends said without missing a beat, I would ask him for the password, and I went, what? He's like, oh yes, I had this all figured out already. How did you come up with that in a half of a second? But you have a very similar answer to mine. I would ask questions, and I need them to prove this more. Well, see, I'm a pragmatist. So if there's a problem, how do we solve it? That's actually one of my other sayings is problems are just things that we solve. My wife actually has taken to getting me T-shirts with all my Andreisms written on them. I'll get to the dishes.
Oh yeah, dishes. What dishes? Oh, the other one. You can't prove nothing. I was wearing a mask.
It happens to everyone. Oh, yeah. No. Well, yeah. I mean, I could come up with 1,000 things, but I wanted to keep it kind of like sweet, and I feel like it's really sweet right now. Is there anything that you can think of that I'm just an idiot for not bringing up? Like you joined the CIA?
I don't know. Again, back to the idea of not having regrets. We've come really close with record labels, and we've had some funny things happen. We've done showcases, and one of my two come to mind. We did one for Virgin, and Nancy Jeffries at the time really liked the band. She goes, if we didn't just blow all that money on Keith Richards' solo project, we would have signed you. I was like, thanks, Keith.
Oh my God, oh my God. Did you have to say that? That?
Yeah. And the best one though was, I forget what label it was. It was, we liked you guys, but it just sounds a little dated. So we signed the Georgia Satellites. The cutting edge sound of the Georgia Satellites. Keep your hands to yourself.
Oh my God.
Yes, it's a 1-4-5. There's a new progression that nobody's ever seen before or heard before.
Now that's funny you say that, because have you ever seen that video with the where they make fun of the fact that every pop song ever are the same 4 chords?
1, 5, 6, 4. Yeah.
Yeah. How have you ever felt upset about a song being like so popular because of that at all? Or have you ever, obviously I have some hostility towards some music, and I'm not trying to make you also feel that way, but
music, I hate it.
Like, whoa.
No, you know what? I actually have the opposite reaction.
Okay.
I always marvel at the ingenuity of people that can take that same progression and make it sound different. That's me like, oh, that's a cool take on that whole 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. That's like, oh, cool. I know, that's why I look at it.
That's great. I look for people to help me with these issues.
Well, it's funny. I remember somebody said to Yngwie Malmsteen once, he goes, hey, does it bother you like all your songs kind of sound the same? And he said, nobody ever says to a blues guy, all those
1-4-5s. They all kind of sound the same. Nobody ever says that to a guy playing the blues.
I was thinking the same thing
Yeah.
about the blues. Nobody says that about the blues. They're fine
No.
with it. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
there's a-
dun, 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 dun. And we're all
And
cool
again,
with it.
I've got nothing against the blues. I've
Nothing
I've
at
produced
all.
a lot of blues projects. I mean, that could never be my thing because I would feel really disingenuous playing the blues because I like, damn, I'm just too happy. So yeah, I don't think there are people that can do it with authenticity. I mean, even the greats like Gary Moore. I always thought Gary Moore, one of my favorite guitar players, but I liked his rock playing. I was never a big fan of his blues playing. It's like, Still Got the Blues, one of probably his biggest hit that the mainstream knows. And to me, it was always like third person blues. To me, it's like somebody reporting the blues. It wasn't like I got the blues. It was like, well, at 8:45 p.m., somebody was suffering from the blues. It's like, it's that kind of thing where third person blues kind of a thing.
Brilliantly put.
I always get that, and that's kind of the analogy to me. A hallmark of a bad a singer. They need to be presenting the song.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hear somebody that has all the emotional content of a network newscaster singing about love, it's just like,
Yes.
yeah, you have to, that has to be
Authenticity.
infused. Everything even when you're in the studio, I find myself, like if it's a happy thing when I'm playing, I'm trying to squeeze some smile into it. Or same thing if you're selling furniture or cars. When I was doing a voiceover, I would be trying to smile like, hey, just trying to whatever you can do to emotionally charge something
Mm-hmm.
so that it's not this sterile thing. And that's again, being in the studio all the time, learning. I mean, that's one of the great talents. If you can learn how to do that in the studio when you don't have the immediate crowd support and the reaction there, you can't feed off the energy of the crowd, being able to kind of harness that kind of energy and infuse that in whatever you're doing. I mean, that's an art unto itself, and being able to do that, being able to get into that mindset.
It's very similar to acting.
I imagine.
I've taken a lot of acting classes. I haven't gotten very much better at all, but one of the things that you learn in acting, obviously, is to try and get in that space, that moment. Because, especially with film acting, it's like a sound rolling, camera rolling, and action. And I'm having the worst day of my life. And cut didn't work because of this. Okay, ready, and sound. Everybody back to one, everything. And you have to get back there again and again and again.
Yeah.
And there's so much passion in music. Acting classes seem like something that musicians probably should look into to try and work that muscle. That's fascinating.
I mean, it's hard letting go and trusting that your abilities will carry you through to whatever you're trying to achieve. Just trusting, whether it's playing a part or if you're improvising too. Especially, it's like the same thing with theater. If you're doing like improv kind of a thing, being able to trust that you'll stick the landing. Just being able to have enough faith in your own ability to just if you fall, you fall. Get back up, do it again. And of course, I have that luxury in the studio. If you're doing a live improv performance, not so much. Although sometimes that's funny too.
Sometimes screwing up is fun.
But yeah, being able to tap into that emotional reserve that we all carry. I mean, that's again, and not being afraid. There's just a fearless quality that you almost have to have as an artist to be able to do that. And again, it's easy in the studio because you fall down, you get back up. Whereas, again, in a live situation, that's probably why I rehearse so much. When I'm live, I don't want to think about what I'm playing. I want to think about performing. I want to think about if it's a choice between making a jump, a leap, a kick or something, or hitting exactly the right note. If it's in the middle of a phrase, that will be the last thing on my mind. It's about what the audience sees and feels and hears and whatever, whatever will resonate with them is what, that's at the top of my chart as far as goals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. That's interesting. So speaking of high jumps and kicks, where did you learn how to do that? At martial arts, or are you just a kid that liked to jump?
I just started doing it one day, and I'm not sure exactly
It's pretty
how or
flexible
why. Or
for someone that doesn't practice it. If you didn't,
yeah, it's funny. I went through a phase there where I was like, no, you got to stretch. You got to stretch. And I started stretching. And the more I stretched, the more I hurt myself. Apparently, I wasn't good at stretching, but my muscles seemed to remember that what they were supposed to do when I was kicking or something or doing a split. And again, I was good at that, but bad at stretching.
you're naturally flexible, but terrible at stretching.
Yeah. So you'd think they'd go hand in hand, but
I'm
apparently
terrible
they do
at both.
not. Well, it's like, I always like it's like the bumblebee. On paper you're going, oh, that thing can't fly, but the bumblebee doesn't know it.
Right.
Because same thing with my legs and everything. It's like they don't know they're not supposed to be able to do that without stretching. So let's turn them loose.
Yeah. Now that you gave me this information, I'm probably going to hurt myself.
Yeah.
Just keep it to yourself, pal. Yeah, this is great. I appreciate it a lot. And
Sure.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so excited because I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do. What do I want to do? And I was doing some gaming. I was doing some podcasting for Wolfpack, the organization trying to get corruption out of politics, and doing video editing for them and all these things. And then I was like, maybe I should just be doing podcasts and giving my opinion about things. And I said, but the thing is, I have a terrible memory, so I'll sound like an idiot all the fucking time. And then my friend Stacy goes, "You interview people." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, you interview people. You get people that can talk about what they're really good at, and you're likable, I guess. And that will be what you can do. And I was like, I do talk to people pretty well because I care about what they're saying a lot.
Yeah. There's a great art to that. I mean, that's, we tend to be so drawn in and narcissistic, and it's sort of myopic about things that listening to people don't do that anymore. And of course it's, if you're texting, you're not listening to somebody. I'm curious about, what's one of the things I love is I love talking to people, and I'll ask them about, I've got friends who used to drive trains. It's like, tell me about that. It's like, what's it like driving a train? And I'll listen to it for half an hour, like, and I just, all the questions that come to mind about being an engineer, things like that, just things like that fascinate me. Or the maple industry, I'll be asking, okay, so
how does that turn into maple syrup, please?
Yeah, it's just, to me,
me.
it's fascinating. It's like, really? So you put the tap in when you take it out, you got to go to another part of the tree. It's like, oh yeah, because that part is like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, but that's good to know.
There's so much to know on this planet.
And again, it's so many arcane arts and sciences that we just are all around us. We just, But yeah, when you're presented with the opportunity to learn these things, like, that's one of the things people say. How do you staying young? That's one of the things. I'm 63 now.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
no.
And Eisenhower was president when I was born. Heck, they were still excited about the wheel. And fire was all the rage.
Sliced bread, that was me.
The key to me for maintaining the youth is that same thing you were talking about, is being inquisitive, always being curious, being just always wanting to learn. I mean, that's kind of the hallmark of youth, is you spend your whole you learning. I mean, getting to know more about the world you're in. And my dad always said, be a student of the world. Try to understand what motivates other people. Don't just don't look at the bold print. Don't look at the headlines. Try to understand why these people feel this way. Try to understand this. Try to understand that. Be a student of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps you young, is that openness and willing to learn, and knowing that you don't know everything. Again, I always say I'm smart enough to know I'm not smart enough. I just,
so that keeps your mind young. But how in the world do you not look anywhere near 63? Do you think it actually all part of it?
Because I'm my wife will say, because I'm so immature, that kind of transcends all that. It just that's what keeps me young. Just this sheer level of immaturity that I've been able to cultivate over the years.
I like it. I like that. So you said that you moved studios, and I know only from 2 billion years ago where the other studio was. So when you say you moved, that means it could have been anywhere between now and like 20 years. So it's really not new to you moving, right? Or is it?
It was
recent?
6 years ago.
Okay, so it was not too long ago.
Funny, and I'll tell you one more last funny story.
Okay.
We're looking for a house that we could build a new studio in for about 3 years, and we finally found a place in St. Albans. It was this it's a small house, but it had a 1,700 square foot off building where they used to modify Corvettes. It was like just the ideal for a studio off building, and so it's all set up for with a lot of power and everything. I'm like, oh great. And it came time to do an only inspection, and the old guy's 80 years old, and the septic system didn't pass inspection, and but gee, Len, the septic system is going to need to be replaced. He goes, no. He goes, I've had that septic system for 30 years, never had a problem. Going, that sounds about right. About 30 years, you should start about having problems. No, wouldn't budge on it. So my wife is like, we 3 years to find this one place, and she's like all depressed. And so I was going to visit her at work that a couple days later. There's a little convenience store by the library where she works in Fairfield, and I bought her these cheese balls. She liked cheese balls, as one has for comfort food. And the lady behind the counter says, I heard it didn't work out at Lenny's place. I'm going, Lenny. Oh, Leonard, yeah. So he's not going to budge on it. He goes, but you know what? We've been trying to sell my mom's place, and it's right in town. I think it would be perfect for you. And I went, oh, yeah, I bet it would. And I never thought about it again. Next day, Wendy goes in the store, buy more cheese balls, and she goes, oh, so did Andre tell you about the place? He goes, yeah, where is that? Let me look it up. Because, of course, my wife had to search up there for 3-bedroom places with all our criteria. It never popped up. And my wife looks and goes, we may have to go look at this place. It's like, but it's listed as 2 bedrooms. It's got 1.5 acres of land around it. No neighbors right here. It's completely surrounded by trees. It's like, huh. So we drive down a driveway. It's like, holy crap. Wow. It's like everything you'd want. It's like at the end of a street.
Wow.
The neighbors, there's trees all around us. You can't see the neighbors. It's like being in Fairfield still. It's like this bucolic, living in the country thing.
Wow.
But they will deliver pizza if you want it.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. And so I said, okay, well, she said, I think we need to take it. So let's look at the house first.
Yeah, calm down a little bit.
So we said, call the realtor and go, well, I'm actually just about to get on the cruise ship, but I'll have one of my other girls go over there. So came over there, we went in the house, like, it's kind of working. And it had this big garage. And I'm looking and going, it was like all this space up there. And I'm going, what the hell? It's like all this wasted space up there. Turns out they used to have an RV. So our tracking room has 13-foot ceilings.
Oh.
So got this giant space out there, and it's like, wow. And again, you could not have worked it better. It's like when somebody says, something better will come along. Like, actually did. Like 2 days later, it's like something better came along. So,
but I think that's who you guys are, though. Some people, she might not, like another couple wouldn't have talked to that person at all. Just give me here's this, here's that. Yeah, thanks. See you later. But when you put out a positive attitude and you're a positive person, things roll more with you because people want to talk to you and it connects more. It's like you're inside the big, like, of the electron. You're like part of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a whole karmic thing. You just, I think, if you put good energy out there, things come back. I was raised Catholic, so I've been through the ringer, but one of the things I learned was that you just put positive energy out there. You put good out there, and it does come back to you tenfold. I mean, I get to do this every day.
It's fantastic. That's wonderful.
So,
you can also practice positivity. If you're not a positive person, you can practice it, become better, because it's just building pathways, And I'm not a big fan of like karma being magic. I think it's more of a psychological thing. But some people,
Yeah. Well, it's never. I never think of. It's never a conscious thing. It's always that. And I always tell my son, always do something because you can. If you can help somebody out, do it. Don't let somebody go through the intersection first because you want them to say thank you. Just let them go through. Just if you approach life that way, it's just if you're always giving, then there's more giving out in the world, and just it comes back. Giving comes back.
That makes sense. Totally. I like that take on it quite a bit. It just, don't expect it to come back. It's just, yeah.
If somebody doesn't thank you, well, it's fine. It's just, you did the right thing,
Yeah. Yeah. I always refer to it as keep my side of the street clean.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Well, I got one more story. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please
Speaking
do.
of Tim, and I know I got to run here soon in like 4 minutes, but
that's cool.
I performed on his show a few times with different artists, and one of them was Ben Patton, who's an amazing artist. If you haven't, look up Ben Patton. He's a genius. He I was playing with Ben, and we did sound check before the show, and I'm using my pod in ears, and it comes time, you introduce the band, Ben Patton, and I go to hit a chord. It's like nothing. Whoever was running sound forgot to unmute my guitar. So I'm just like, although, it wasn't going to my ears, but it was going out through front of house.
Oh, geez.
So I'm not hearing any guitar. So I'm like, I call an instrument landing, playing all these parts without actually being able to hear what I'm doing.
Yeah. You're just going to the beat.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those, again, Champlain College student interns. God bless them.
That is not an easy thing to do. What do you call it? Instrument landing?
Instrument landing, because I'm just basically looking at the gauges.
Now, can you hear the house sound at all?
Not really, because I had in-ears.
Oh my God! So you're like lip syncing guitar without even hearing guitar. So you're just playing like it's not there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would love to hear the recording of that to see how it turned out.
And the thing is, the audience is hearing what I'm doing. So I'm like,
oh yeah, that's hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah. Deer in the headlights.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's something. Wow.
So that's you, Tim Cavanaugh. You and your staff.
Yeah, curse you, Tim Cavanaugh.
Oh, and your unpaid intern college student staff.
So what are you up to tonight? Anything exciting?
Yeah, I get to go for a COVID test now. Then I got a hip hop guy at 7.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, and I'll let you. Obviously, you'll be able to see this whenever. I know you're busy, so it'll just be there for you to look at if you like and stuff. But
I don't think I said anything that I'm too embarrassed about. But hey,
I'm pretty good at figuring out. I'll have questions for you. Like, did you when you were talking about murder?
Yeah,
was that real or
something you did, or something you aspired to, or just is it still like in the spitballing planning stages?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
kind of stuff. Yeah, sure.
Also, if you ever think of anybody that might be interesting to interview, that might be into being interviewed, always I'm looking for suggestions, of course. So
yeah, there's so many characters around Burlington.
That's exactly what I like. I'm totally on Rusty next. I think I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say give Rusty my best when you see him.
I will definitely.
I did a couple shows with Rusty over the years, and he actually gave me a warm-up jacket that has my name on it. It says special guitar.
Oh my God!
The Lager
really?
show on the back, and
oh, that's fantastic! I love it.
That's a guy who gets show business. He's a guy who just modifies a show each night. Where if he sees something work, that guy is a brilliant entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that I admire his work ethic and everything, and the way he approaches it, because he's very as kind of off the cuff as he might seem. He's thinking. He's always thinking.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, that's fantastic.
Anybody in the Starline Rhythm Boys would be fun to interview.
Yes, definitely.
Those guys, those guys know musical history.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around forever, and there's so many great artists around here.
Oh yeah, I have so many possibilities and not enough time to do it. It seems I need to get some editors. Is what I need, so I can just go, here you go, and then tomorrow I'm doing another one.
Tim, he might know some student.
I will ask him.
That thing that you didn't want me to erase. Well,
Exactly. Well, I'll back everything up. I'm a nut with backups. You wouldn't believe it. I'm recording on Zoom and OBS, and it's immediately I'm going to back everything up.
That's smart.
Plus, I keep it on MKV file, and then I'm going to remux it in OBS into MP4, which is all stuff I barely understand, but I do know how to do it. So cool. All right,
Godspeed,
great,
my friend.
Have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much.
Oh,
and it was wonderful talking to you.
It's fun.
Cool.